The Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Kind of got some feedback from the guys, is the sense of like, we need you back, Nick. We need your energy. We need your focus. We need your, like, I've gotten that from a couple players, and when I'm operating and having fun, I think that breathes to the rest of the football team. If I want the guys to celebrate and be themselves after big plays, then I should probably do that myself, right? There's times for that, and there's times not for that. I have to have wisdom and discernment of when to do that and when not to do that.
I just told him to be him. I need him to be 2022, Nick, so we can get there. Because we just want people to be themselves. At the end of the day, Coach been taking a bunch of heat, and I understand he got a lot of stuff on him. We got his back because, Philly can be hard. I know all about it. I always said that they going to eat the words that they say. And so I know that's what Nick probably saying, too. And every chance that he get, you let him know, just like I would, too.
Brandon Graham coming to the defense of Nick Sirianni after the game. He said, I'd let the fans know if they were tough on me. So Sirianni saying, look, the players, they asked me to kind of go back to the guy that I was. Mike Mcgarry from the Press of Atlantic City. He's been covering professional sports, baseball, football, basketball, high school sports for years. He joins us now on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. The Eagles win the game, Mike. But what's the look the next day when the only thing people are talking about is not the victory, it is the actions of the coach in a quick snippet as that game was counting down the final seconds yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at Sirianni, and this has been something that has kind of bothered me about him since he's gotten the job, is he's just competitively immature in my eyes. He's too demonstrative on the sidelines with the faces, the actions. And I just saw it yesterday. Look, they get by the Cleveland Browns, and, every win in the NFL is a win, and there are no gimmies. They're all professional football players. But his actions after you just let it go. If a couple fans behind the bench were getting on you, or they would fire Nick Chance or something like that at halftime, and you come back and win the game, just sort of let it go. Because, do the Eagles really need the 2022 Sirianni back, or, do they need the 2022 defense or the 2022 Jalen Hurts back a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he said. It wasn't really like, hey, Nick, what did you say? I mean, to me, if he's retaliating to the fire Nick chance, in other words, if he said, I don't hear any fire Nick now, if you're Jeffrey Lurie, what's your response today?
Well, again, my response is to bring him in and tell him to calm down and act like he's more of a professional. I mean, again, he says in the quote you played, or the soundbite you played before I came on here, he says, if I want the players to celebrate big plays, shouldn't I celebrate them too? No, you shouldn't. You're the head coach. The players can go out there and they can do dances and they can do end zone celebrations and they can get turnover chains and everything else. But you're the head coach. Act like it. Act like you're the guy in charge of the organization. That's what I would be most worried about if I was Jeffrey Lurie. I mean, this is the guy who's running, the game day operation or running the football operation on the field for the Philadelphia Eagles, a guy who's, making faces on the sideline, worried what some guy from Delco County in the fifth row says. I mean, that's what he's focused on. That's what he's worried about. The first thing he does after win, and Mike, let's face facts. They won the game 2016. It's not like they won by 3 touchdowns. They got by. They just got by the Cleveland Browns, who are 1-4, 1-5, and one of the worst teams in football. Just be happy you got out with the win. It wasn't exactly like, they were saying fire Nick at halftime, and in the second half, the Eagles put, 4 touchdowns on the board. So, yeah, I would be concerned about why is this guy, who, again, I come back to the phrase competitively immature, running the on-field operations of a billion-dollar business, basically.
Well, Mike, and then, if all of that, what you said is accurate, and then, okay, maybe you think it's going to kind of go away the next day. No. On a day where Dallas gets, Rochambeau'd by Detroit, boat raced, lapped 3 times. I don't know if you saw the Pat McAfee show today, but the McAfee show has become like, a safe spot for players. And they just did like a satirical Saturday Night Live bit on Sirianni for 10 minutes today. I mean, if you're the Eagles, you're the laughing stock of the league right now with the way that your representative of your organization, your on-field representative, they opened that show today with a Saturday Night Live skit of your team.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. He kind of got roasted a little bit on the, Bill Simmons podcast, the Guess the Lines podcast that Bill Simmons does with Cousin Sal on Sunday night. It was a topic of discussion there. Yeah, that's not what you want, especially after a win that kind of, and again, a win in the NFL is a win in the NFL, but it's a win that I don't think makes anybody feel any better about the Eagles today than they did, at 12:55 on Sunday before they got before a kickoff. So I just think it was the wrong message. And again, I come back to competitively immature. I just kind of wonder what is going through his head, and then bringing his kids to the news conference. You can discuss whether that's appropriate or not.
Yeah.
It looked kind of shaky behavior. It kind of looked to me like he knew he was going to get asked some questions, some tough questions, and he brought his kids in there thinking that maybe it would deflect it a little bit.
Yeah, that is a big thing there. I was going to get your take on that. What is your take on, a professional coach when they bring their kids to the podium?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of it. I mean, the press conference is more, it's like a business sort of situation there. And obviously, I've seen players bring kids in. I've seen players in the Phillies clubhouse. While you talk to a player, they'll often they'll send their kid to the other side of the room if they happen to be in the clubhouse or something like that. But that's Sunday after a game, not after a Super Bowl win certainly, or a big playoff win. To kind of, I just think it's a place of business, the press conference, and it's not a place for kids or the head coach to sort of have his kids in there for whatever the reason. Basically, I'm sure the kids were thrilled to be there. They want to go someplace else after the game, than to meet the Philadelphia media. Basically, I mean, I can think of a lot of places I'd rather be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, is that another thing, though, listen, all of this is leading to, it's a pretty embarrassing moment on the day that you won. And if you're the organization, how much consideration do you take at this day and this moment and all the heat your coach is getting?
Yeah, well, I think it's, again, the narrative should be, hey, the Eagles squeeze out a win and, maybe they can build off this. Instead, the narrative is Nick Sirianni and how he acts. Professional, is he able to lead the team? It's not the discussion you want to have. And if I was Jeffrey Lurie, I would definitely call him in and say, look, you got to calm down. You can't, you're not a player, okay? Players get to celebrate big plays. Brandon Graham can sack the quarterback and do a sack dance all he wants. A.J. Brown can score a touchdown, do whatever he wants to do in the end zone. Jalen Hurts can throw a touchdown pass. He can celebrate. The defense can pick off a pass and they can run 100 yards and pose for a picture in the other end zone. But at the head coach, you can't do it because you're the head coach.
Mike Mcgarry from the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, they were the only team in the NFC East that won yesterday. It almost like it got lost in the sauce. Washington lost to Baltimore. Obviously, New York lost last night to Cincinnati, and Dallas got boat race. So you got this NFC East now that you are right in the thick of, and that seems to get lost in the sauce. But that being said, it was an ugly win yesterday, but they got the win. Does this team feel like it's trending in the right direction?
No, not to me. It seems like it's trending for a kind of 9-8, 8-9, maybe 10-7 best case scenario season, and they are going to be in the playoff hunt until probably the last week of the season, or maybe even make the playoffs. I think because the NFC East is looks pretty mediocre right now, and I just think that's the concerns that we had about the team at 12:55 yesterday, or 1:04 before they kicked off. Inconsistent offense, shaky decision-making from Jalen Hurts, inability to score points, defense, inability to get off the field, shoddy tackling. It was all there yesterday, even with the win. So, and then you throw on top of it Sirianni's behavior, and you don't get a win that makes you feel any better about the team than it did before.
What is your, when you watch the Eagles offensively, does this look like a different offense than the one they've had the last couple of years? Kellen Moore came in, supposed to be his offense. He's the play caller. It's his offense. Do you get the sense that this is his offense and that it looks different?
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, Mike, what I saw yesterday is kind of like watching the Giants play the past couple of years with Saquon Barkley. I mean, you knew the whole time that Barkley was this tremendous running back. He would make some eye-opening plays every once in a while. But at the end of the day, for whatever the reason was, poor quarterback play, poor offensive line, the Giants wouldn't be able to put in a lot of points on the board, and Barkley's numbers would be just okay. And that's what happened yesterday, except the Eagles are able to pull out the win there. So, yeah, I think you have to be disappointed with the offense. Now, I granted yesterday both wide receivers were back for the first time, so that's obviously going to make a difference. But, yeah, I think with the skilled players they have, it's a disappointment. And the disappointment to me is basically Jalen Hurts. And he seems like he's going backwards instead of forward. So that's when I go back to the start of their conversation when they said, the players said they wanted the 2022 Sirianni. Forget about that. Give me the 2022 Jalen Hurts. Where's that guy?
Yeah, where is that guy? All right, Mike Mcgarry from the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com. Of course, the Eagles win, the Mets lose. All is right in the world again. The Giants lose, the Mets lose. All right, Mike, we'll talk to you Wednesday, man.
All right, we'll see you down the road. Thank you.